Hi there and welcome. There's this profound wisdom just waiting for us, right in the quiet heart of winter. So let's explore it together.
For so long, we've kind of treated winter like the bad guy, right? This gray season we just have to get through. But what if we've completely misunderstood the assignment? What if all that cold isn't a barrier at all, but a boundary? A boundary that's actually there to save us from our own nonstop momentum.
So let's start there. Let's really understand this invitation that winter is extending to us. It's basically a call to get off the hamster wheel and just be.
And this really gets in a major conflict, doesn't it? Our culture pushes us, especially women, to live in this kind of relentless summer. We're supposed to be in a constant state of bloom, always producing, always creating, always harvesting. But nature knows better. Think about it. Nothing can bloom all year round without completely depleting its source. So winter comes along and offers us the very boundary we're often too scared to set for ourselves. That biting wind, the sun setting way too early, those aren't punishments. It's like nature itself is whispering, or maybe even shouting, "Enough, come inside now." It's a direct order, really, to stop the endless doing.
And it's in that quiet space that this really powerful question can finally bubble to the surface. Who am I when I'm not performing? When the world isn't asking for anything? When all the roles you play, parent, employee, friend, are just set aside? Who are you really? That stillness, it gives us the space to actually hear the answer for once.
Okay, so this brings us to the deeper why behind all this rest. And to get there, we're going to look to some ancient wisdom from traditional Chinese medicine, because it really helps us understand the kind of power we're meant to be cultivating this season. So in TCM, there's this concept that we're all born with a finite amount of this energy called Jing. You can think of it like your life's battery pack, right? Your primordial life force. And by the time we hit midlife, after decades of spending that energy on careers, family, just everything, that reservoir can get pretty low. Winter is the season specifically designed for conservation. It's our chance to refill that deep well. And conserving our energy these days is a pretty radical act. It means choosing yin over yang. So in this philosophy, everything is a balance of these two forces, right? And our world is just obsessed with yang energy. The sun, the heat, the movement, that constant, loud yes. But winter is the season of yin, the moon, the cold, the stillness. It's the time for us to embrace the sacred and sometimes really difficult power of saying no. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. In TCM, every element has an associated emotion. And for the water element of winter, that emotion is fear. When our energy is super depleted, that's when anxiety can really creep in. But here's the magic trick. When we stop running from it and instead we just sit with that feeling in the stillness winter gives us, fear actually transforms into its higher virtue, wisdom.
Okay, so how do we actually do this? How do we put it into practice? Well, we look to the best teachers out there, nature itself. The natural world gives us the perfect blueprint for how to rest, how to be resilient, and even how to build a sanctuary for ourselves.
Have you ever noticed how incredibly quiet a forest is right after a fresh snowfall? It's amazing. The snow's crystal structure basically creates this natural acoustic blanket, literally muffling all the chaos of the world. And when the outside world finally gets quiet, our inner world gets louder. We can finally hear what we're thinking. And this points to a whole new definition of strength. We tend to think that being strong means being rigid, right? Resisting all the pressure. But just look at a pine branch. It bows way down under the weight of heavy snow, but it doesn't break. That is true resilience. It's flexibility. It's the ability to yield to the weight without losing your roots, without losing who you are at your very core. So we can actually bring this architecture of rest right into our own homes. Let's call it hibernation hygiene. First, create a palette of peace. Think cool, calming colors like indigos and grays. Second, use texture as a shield. Wrap yourself in a weighted blanket. That pressure can actually boost serotonin. Third, embrace the sacred dark. Dim the lights, avoid those bright screens. And finally, maybe the most important one, declare a digital winter. Muffle those notifications and just let the digital world rest for a while. Okay, so once we've created this quiet sanctuary for ourselves, something really cool happens. We're able to rise above all the noise and gain a totally new perspective, the kind that lets us see what really matters.
Think about it from an eagle's high perspective. The eagle isn't getting tangled up in the brambles down on the forest floor. No, from way up there, it sees the entire landscape, the grand patterns, the way the river snakes through the valley, the path the wolf takes. And when we can adopt that view in our own lives, all the daily dramas and anxieties, the problems of the valley, they start to look pretty small, don't they?
But what's really amazing is that this clarity works at every single scale. So while the eagle is getting that big picture macro view, that same stillness also lets us see the breathtaking microscopic beauty in something like the geometry of frost. It's a powerful reminder that there's this incredible order and intelligence woven into our lives, from the biggest picture down to the tiniest moments. You know, all of our daily distractions and obligations, they're like the leaves on a tree in summer. They're lush and full, but they completely hide the branches. Winter comes and strips all of that away. And yeah, that initial bareness can feel a little exposing, but it's what allows us to finally see the bones of our lives, our structural truths, our core values, our deepest passions, the unshakable framework of who we really are. All right, now for our final piece of the puzzle. Let's see how this all comes together. Because seeing our own truth is one thing, but living it, that's something else entirely. This final stage is all about embodying that truth, about reclaiming that wild, intuitive part of ourselves. So I want you to just imagine yourself standing right here, in this landscape. The whole world has been stripped down to its essentials, just snow, trees, and sky. And in this stark, silent, honest place, something primal starts to emerge. Most of the time, we're taught to be like the gentle deer, always vigilant, always ready to bolt at the first sign of trouble. But that's not the whole story, is it? There's another part of us, and winter is the season that demands we find the wolf. Just look at the wolf. It moves with this beautiful, almost terrifying grace. It trusts its senses completely. It honors its hunger. It makes zero apologies for its power or for taking up space. The wolf is our primal intuition personified, that deep part of us that knows the truth, long before our logical brain has a chance to catch up. So, remember that question from before? Who am I when I'm not performing? Let's take it even deeper now. Who are you when your value isn't tied to how useful you are to other people? The wolf couldn't care less about being useful. The wolf is concerned with one thing: being true to itself. And after all of this, after this deep, honest, and yeah, sometimes difficult inner work, that's when the promise arrives. The thaw. The light starts to return, and it finds us not exhausted from trying to fight the cold, but rested, clear, and totally renewed from the inside out. So I want to leave you with this. Winter isn't a void. It's a gathering. Think of all the pieces of yourself that get scattered and lost during the constant busyness of the year. Winter is when they all have a chance to finally come home. In the quiet, your strength doesn't just return, it's reborn.